Good afternoon, welcome to CannaSphere Africa. Today we're coming to you from our new studio. Not quite our new studio.
No, not yet, almost.
In the West Rand of Johannesburg at a cannabis farm called Hempvest. We've come to pay a visit and they kindly allowed us to use this beautiful space full of lots of beautiful plants.
Yeah, it smells very good in here, very clean, very clinical.
I think we might stay here for a while.
Indeed.
Anyway,
sample the wares.
Lots coming up today. What's the first thing coming up?
Well, cannabis retail promises to rebound after the Gauteng Expo,
which was very exciting.
Indeed, indeed.
International experts say that SA drug policies harm the poor. So I'm interested to know more about that.
And then insurance companies warn cannabis consumers to be honest in declarations.
US Honest Marijuana Co. launches Tanzania's first cannabis clinic program.
Interesting.
Things are really happening across Africa at the moment. So it's so exciting to see that things are just moving rapidly. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of things, let's cross over to Limpopo province for Brett for the headline news of what's happening in cannabis in Africa.
The Brett!
Good day from the CannaSphere studio in Limpopo. The sun is starting to shine after some days of heavy rain. After 18 months of forced closure because of COVID-19 pandemic issues, the Cannabis Expo resurfaced at the Sandton Convention Center this last weekend. With over 100 exhibitors and a new shroom section, it was a good dipstick into where the industry is going as it emerges from lockdown. By all senses, it looks like retail is going to explode in the cannabis field in the next few months, particularly next year, and we can pick up on that in conversation after the news. The Global Drug Policy Index says South Africa has among the most inequitable drug policies of the 30 countries it studied. The GDPI is an international body that compares drug policies around the world with the aim of trying to align them with UN human rights goals. South Africa ranked 8 out of 100 for having the fairest drug policy, but came in at 80 out of 100 for having a tolerant attitude. In other words, we don't hang drug traffickers. Out of the 30 countries the index studied, SA came in at number 17. That's below Senegal, Morocco, and Kyrgyzstan. The index found that South Africa's drug policies discriminated against the poor, particularly women, and that drug users were subject to arbitrary arrest and torture on what they quoted as a very frequent basis. Norway came out tops as having drug policies that were aimed at harm reduction rather than persecuting users. Next were New Zealand, Portugal, the UK, and Australia. The US, by the way, was not part of the survey this year. SA got an overall rating of 47 out of 100 compared to Norway's 74 out of 100. The GDPI said although South Africa was progressive in decriminalizing cannabis, it was woefully under-resourced to deal with the growing opiate and synthetic drugs crisis that is unfolding in this country. And with medical cannabis now being legalized, how's that going to affect your medical aid claims and insurance payouts? Sanlam's Belinda Andrews says it's going to be a whole new world. Each insurance application will be taken on a case-by-case basis, taking into account the risk criteria. She said cannabis users should be honest about their consumption, but these factors are going to come into play. Is it recreational or is it medical? If it's medical, what's the underlying condition? If it's recreational, is there an underlying dependency issue or risk thereof? And is there a difference if you're smoking or consuming it as an edible or as a topical? The bottom line, she says, is that it's critical for individuals to disclose any substance or medication they're taking to their insurer to decrease the likelihood of delays or rejection, should they claim. Honesty, she said, is always your best policy. Talking of honesty, Colorado-based Honesty Marijuana Company has announced it's set to set up a string of clinics in Tanzania where CBD will be made available to patients. Sounds good, particularly because it's backed by the Tanzanian government and both the Anglican and Catholic churches, who are behind a drive to improve health service delivery, particularly in rural areas. HMC said in a press release yesterday that it had entered into a partnership with a new chain of medical clinics called Your Local Clinic to set foot in Africa, producing and selling cannabis to doctors and patients as part of a public health drive. All sounds fairly good until I heard them say this, Linda and Trenton. They say this is the Honest Marijuana Co. from Colorado. They say the concept is succinctly boiled down to the essentials that they see that a trusted American brand manufactured for Europeans is going to be producing cannabis in Africa. Now, doesn't that make you want to go, whoa, whoa, whoa? It looks like they're coming in to do a public health clinic, but actually at the same time, they're going to set up export facilities to Europe, taking advantage of Africa being a low-cost producer. I'm not so sure if that sits so comfortably with me. What do you guys say?
I think it's the same old situation, where we have internationals coming in, and we obviously embrace international business and international opportunities, but they have to be done under certain terms that protect the local population, the local economy. And we've seen this time and time again with natural resources across the African continent, where we've been exploited, and leaders don't protect. They just take the sort of the backhand to make things as appropriate and beneficial for them as possible. So it sounds like it's a little bit dodgy, but I guess the good thing is that Tanzania is being seen as a cannabis country. So there's pros and cons, I guess. It's just about how it's all managed.
Yeah. I'm also wondering when we're going to have an African Union policy around the cannabis conversation, because we've got this big continent of ours and we've got so many boundaries, but I think it's time to open up. As much as we're doing so much business with, our offshore European or American or whatever partners, I think we can start looking at beneficiating within the actual content, because there's just so much consumers here and so much need for actual, business and diversity in that.
But here's the thing, Linda. Last time I looked, cannabis isn't yet legal in Tanzania. So never mind what their intentions are. This is maybe being a bit hopeful. It's legalized in Uganda, and Kenya's in the process of drawing up white paper. But there's still a lot of discussion in Tanzania as to whether it could even be legalized for export. There are no licenses on offer yet or whatever. So this might well be something of an exciting new breakthrough, or it could be just another scam from the honest marijuana company in Colorado.
Yeah. Well, honesty is the best policy.
Indeed.
I hope they are honest with a name like that. The other thing is it's really interesting to see these sort of cannabis clinic programs developing. I know that there are a number of companies in South Africa now that are using the Section 21 to bring on doctors and patients. And even though it's slow, we met some guys today who have 140 patients on the Section 21 situation. So that's really encouraging to see us moving forward. It's building.
Yeah. And then it's a little bit disconcerting about the disclosure for the insurance companies. I remember once I was getting a blood test for one of the insurance companies, and I was so concerned that they would pick up THC in my blood, and then that would go against me. But luckily, there wasn't a test that was done.
It's like your house gets robbed and you go to get your insurance, and it's like, no, you have THC. We're not insured. We're not paying insurance.
You're not allowed to claim for this.
It's more around, it's more around medical aid and all the implications there, because it does open up a whole new world. One would think, though, that taking CBD should reduce your medical aid cover because you're not using so many allopathic Western medical products.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although with the price of CBD in this country.
If you've just joined us, we are coming live from Hempfest, which is a cannabis farm out in the West Rand of Johannesburg. They kindly allowed us to sit in their room and be with the plants.
Yeah.
And it's very bright in here, which is why I'm wearing my
so
glasses.
bright.
I'm not just trying to look cool. But anyway,
it's been, cool, dude.
Oh, thanks. It's been a very exciting week. We haven't stopped. The expo was 4 days long.
Yeah.
So let's cross over to Noxy, who's going to give us some information and tell us everything that went down.
Oh man, the expo was absolutely amazing. Good afternoon and welcome to the CannaSphere News Lifestyle Desk. With me, the Kush Queen, bringing you all things lifestyle, arts, and entertainment in the CannaSphere. The expo. I'm not going to say much. Linda, roll the clip.
What's up, CannaSphere fam? We are out here at the Cannabis Expo today. Me and Cheeba Cannabis Academy, of course, as usual, as always. We're going to be walking around asking a few people some very juicy, very spicy questions. Come with me. What is the craziest thing you've done while you were high?
Probably off the top of my head, I was eating a crunchy once. I couldn't get it down. I couldn't stop laughing, so I ended up pissing in my pants.
Well, we're with Gwanda here from Cuban Zulu Grows. Gwanda, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you, Kush Queen?
I am good, thank you. I have a question for you. What's the craziest thing you've ever done while you were high?
Let me just give you one thing.
Yes.
Things that happen often, like the TV remote ends up in the fridge, or the fridge stuff ends up in the toilet, you know, because like I'm super high and I want to go get a snack, then I grab it and I forget it's in my hand, then I need the toilet, then it's there, you know, so stuff like that, yeah.
The craziest that comes to mind was almost the first time I had cannabis in varsity. The paranoia walking into the dining hall, thinking that everybody is watching me. I literally took my tray and sat in the corner, thinking that people were talking about me. That was the craziest thing ever.
I'm pretty sure I've made some bad purchases and so eaten till I've thrown up, and I've done a few bad things when stoned.
What about you?
I think it's probably ordering Mr. D 4 times in a row.
Yeah. Wow.
I should have just admitted to myself that I needed a lot of food.
I crawled away from the police on all fours, and it was a cul-de-sac, so I wasn't going anywhere.
Wait, what?
Okay, so we all had like my cousins over and we were like smoking and stuff, and we were like, couldn't smoke at home because we're teenagers, whatever. So we were sitting in a circle and we just heard whoop whoop, and I was like, okay, here we go.
Crawling. So we're with the amazing guys from Seven Leaf, the famous Seven Leaf. Well done, guys. I've got one question for you, just one.
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing you've ever done while you were high?
It would probably be putting ice cream on toast, you know, that would probably be the craziest thing.
Wow, that is definitely.
I'm dying.
Ice cream on toast.
Oh god, that is funny.
Yeah, we've all had crazy experiences, you know, fun and games. But on a serious note, I would think the expo was a really amazing event. It brought the industry together. It showed that there is still an industry, even though, you know, it definitely was a little bit smaller than the last one. But, you know, it's a really good step forward. I think it was a very good opportunity for the industry to connect and network and meet together and just see the brands. You know, I mean, there's a lot of brands that aren't there anymore. You know, I think the key here is that this cannabis industry is not about just making money. You know, you've got to be in it for the long run. You've got to be in it for the right reasons. And what was really good to see is there's some brands there that have been around for a long time and have just stuck at it and super committed to making this build. So the general sense and the general camaraderie there was amazing. So we really enjoyed it.
And I think also we had a stand also as Cheeba Cannabis Academy, and I think the inquiries that came in, it literally came in from mums and dads, grandmas and opas, omas. I mean, there's a couple of photos that you'll probably see on our socials, and it just basically indicates that this industry is ready to come online. The consumer on the ground, never mind B2B, are ready to get involved and see where the opportunities and gaps are. And that's what I was very excited to, because I realized there's a wealth of information that we're all holding, but all the people out there in the populace don't know this stuff.
How did you find it, Brett?
That's absolutely fascinating. I think next year is going to be the year of online delivery, you know, because that's not going to wait for regulations to change. And as people get a sense that that cannabis is going to be legalized, because I think ultimately we will have pretty much full adult use legalization in this country, but it might take another 2 years before all the legislation works through the system. But I think we're going to see that much more than the dispensary model route developing in South Africa, much more of the convenience delivery route, because just of who we are, and you know, convenience is king for the customer these days.
Well, they're already, you know, you can, for those of you who don't know, you can actually order your cannabis from Clicks, and it gets delivered to your door with a Section 21. Wow. It's all above board, legal, medical cannabis. It is happening. So it's all about the patients also asking for it, because the more patients ask for it, the more it happens, the more we move forward. It's a collective effort.
And the awareness.
We just got to be patient.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about patience. We've been patient. I think it's time to get the acceleration going, you know.
Trenton, do you know the over-the-counter medication type of thing? So are we going to get to the stage where you could actually claim for from your medical aid to get it to you?
I think at some point that will happen. It's not there at the moment, but at some point, if it is a medicine, there's no reason why medical aid shouldn't pay for it. Although I know in other countries that's been very slow on the uptake, but it is obviously changing fast. So interesting dynamics, interesting times.
Yeah.
Yo, medical
well, let's find
savings.
out about it. Let's try and find out for next week. I'll give Discovery a call and let's find out for next week.
Fine, that's up to you. We'll put that onto you.
Nice one.
Awesome.
Okay.
Great, guys. Well, yeah, it's been a busy week. And thanks
Yeah.
for being at the expo. It was good to see you guys. And we look
Thank you, guys.
forward to the news.
Okay.
Is it just me or are they frozen
Next
again?
week.
It's one of those days.
Cheers, guys, from
Same
Limpopo.
time.
Go well.
Just from Johannesburg.
Not necessarily in the same place, but we'll be back. Till next week. See you then. Ciao.
Bye.
We're still here. It seems we're still live. Or is it just me?
No, I think you're right, Knox. I'm seeing the live button there, so don't say anything that's incriminating.
Okay.
I don't know what you're going to do. Otherwise, we could just carry on doing the show. We can just carry on talking about cannabis if we.
Maybe
Whoever's
God
listening.
is saying the show's not over.
Yeah.
Chris,
The fat lady hasn't sung yet.
Hi, Chris. We are definitely live, Chris.
Okay, I think we should exit elegantly right now.
Okay. Peace and love, everyone.